Mysteal.
Let's go back. Back to the beginning.
Nostalgia trip.
Hi, Abby. Welcome.
Hey,
Welcome to my podcast.
thank you so much for having me.
I
It's a
want
pleasure.
to make sure that everyone knows that you have the distinct honor of being the first guest in person to record with me.
Big deal.
Big deal. Huge deal. We're
Yeah.
sitting together. Everyone else has been virtual, so this is delightful. Can you first go ahead and introduce yourself? Who are you and how do you know moi?
Yeah, so my name is Abigail. I am a person who lives in the same city as you. No, I'm just kidding. What about me? I'm an entrepreneur. I run a business here in Grand Rapids that works with nonprofits. And I live at home with my partner and part-time with my partner's son. And I also own a pet sitting business. I'm going to be watching your cats in a few
In a couple days.
And I know you because we used to work together. So
Yeah.
that's how we met. We remained friends,
Indeed.
and it's been a big year for our friendship, actually.
It has. We've gone to a Heim concert together. You went to my bachelorette party. We've had good times this year, and now
been a
we're
good year.
nearly near the end of 2022. When people are listening to this, it will be 2023. And yeah, we had a great time together in 2022, and we're going to finish off our good time this year by talking about what?
The Princess Diaries.
The Princess Diaries, a film that I think means a lot to a lot of people our age.
It's a treasure of a film.
It is a treasure of a film. So as we talk about
It's
it,
so
can
good.
you first kick it off by just giving us a broad overview of what this film is about?
Yeah, so this film is about, I think she's a 15-year-old girl who lives in San Francisco with her mom, and her world gets turned upside down when her grandmother comes to visit and reveals that she is a princess and has been a princess
Yes.
and is the only living heir to the throne since this 15-year-old girl's dad died, I think. They
Yes.
don't really say, but like he died in an accident or something.
They're very vague, and we'll talk about that because it's different from the books, and we'll talk about the books as well.
Yeah.
But yes, that is the gist, right? So Queen
Yeah.
Clarice Rinaldi.
Yes, and Amelia Mignonette. What is it?
See,
Amelia?
okay, I was going to ask you the question. Do you know her whole name?
Amelia Mignonette Thermopolis Rinaldi.
Princess of Genovia.
Yes.
Yes, you did it. Good job.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Yeah, so that's the gist of the movie.
Yeah.
It stars, of course, Anne Hathaway,
Yes, but it also stars Julie Andrews.
Queen Julie Andrews.
It has a killer cast.
It does. It's so good. Let me rattle off a couple other facts about the movie before we start really getting into our conversation. So it came out in
Yeah.
2001. So we were
Yeah.
both quite young at the time. And like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, based on a book series of the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you, have you read any of the books?
I don't think so. If I have, it was like only the first book because it's a series.
It's a series,
and I've
yes.
only read the first book. I also have never seen the movie has a sequel. I've never seen
You've
it.
never seen the second
No.
one with Mr. Chris Pine?
I just keep rewatching I've probably seen the first one. I would say easily 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's not even remotely exaggerating.
No, yeah.
Like
No,
I've seen it 100
literally
times.
same. And we'll talk about probably why in a little bit. But yeah, so the second one is a little irrelevant to this conversation anyway. We're here for the first one. The first one is a significantly better movie anyway.
I've heard that.
It is. That's just a fact. It is very loosely based on these books. I was a mega fan of the books as well. I think there's
Really?
like 16 books in the series, and I've read them all.
What? So tell me, like, does it deviate a lot from the book?
It does a bit in ways that, honestly, once you read the books, you get kind of mad at the movie. Because the books, I mean, I hate to be like, the books are better. They're not better in, like, always. But, so the dad is alive in the books. The parents are just divorced, and he's, like, estranged. And then she finds out that she's the princess type of thing. Because he was just out of her life. So the dad's alive, and it's actually kind of like an interesting plot point in the book. Like, them rebuilding their relationship
Yeah.
and all that. And then also, Michael stays around for way more of the books. And if I remember correctly, they get married.
Really? So
I might be wrong about the marriage thing, but I know that Michael's in way more of the books. Like, she doesn't just, like, ditch him.
That is so interesting because the dad is not... Was he estranged for a bad like, in the movie, the dad is definitely made out to be, like, a very good, upstanding guy who, like, the whole reason that he divorced Mia's mom, Helen...
Yes.
The whole reason that he divorced Helen was because he felt such a civic duty, like a civic responsibility to serve his country, which is hilarious because, like, royalty doesn't do shit.
Right.
Like,
no,
what
I know.
What are we taught? Like, they make it out to be this, like, very altruistic job. And I'm
no,
like,
they do.
But what is your
and they
job?
You haven't seen the second one, but they definitely do that in the second one too.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, this is important shit. Anyway, so definitely some big differences, but some other, like, delightful differences. Like I mentioned, love the character of Michael. I think Michael sticking around in the books is very nice. He's not in the second one at all. She's, like, totally pieced out from Michael for the second movie. And then her friend Lilly, who's a fabulous character in the movie. We all love Lilly. Her bestie.
Lily.
But her parents, I believe, are both psychiatrists. And it makes Lily's character very funny. Like, she's just, like, clearly the kid of psychiatrists, and it's very amusing, and her parents are more involved in the books, and it's very amusing.
So, you seem to have a very positive perception of Lily.
Well, yes and no. I mean, she's also, like, a problematic teenager in general.
Like, I rewatched the movie today, okay? And the whole time I was like, who's the
She's a bit of a brat.
Yeah. In this story.
Yeah.
And it's Lily. To me, it's Lily.
And she's also a great source of, like, friend conflict in the books too. Like, she's definitely used in the same mode in the books. So I think that she helps perpetuate the story a lot and is necessary to be a bit of a brat to help move the story along.
Yeah.
Right?
She really is not a good friend.
She's not. She's not.
She's problematic at best.
She is problematic. It's true. But she's also a really fun part of the movie, and I always really liked her hair.
Oh yeah,
her hair is really fun.
The actress who plays her, Heather Matarazzo, is in, like, other stuff. Like, she's in Saved, and I loved her character in Saved.
She's a great actress.
She's really great at acting.
She's great.
And her character's so funny in the movie too.
Oh yeah, no, Lily is great comic relief and much needed. Although it's a very funny movie in general. The movie was a massive success at the time. It was a sleeper hit. It was not supposed to be a big hit for Disney. It made $165 million, which is pretty good money for, like, a PG Disney movie. Yeah. It was directed by Gary Marshall. Are you familiar with Mr. Gary Marshall?
No. What else did he direct?
He's a very important man. He's the creator of Happy Days, the creator of Laverne and Shirley, and he directed other classics such as Overboard, Pretty Woman, and Runaway Bride.
Okay, I did know about Pretty Woman and Runaway Bride.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting. I didn't know he had, like, a TV career as well.
Yeah.
Because isn't Happy Days and that's a TV series.
Classic TV.
Like, long running.
Yes. And Laverne and Shirley is also incredible television.
Yeah.
And his sister is Penny Marshall, director of Big and A League of Their Own.
What?
Yes. The Marshall family is a gift to America.
They're killing it.
Yeah. I think they both passed away, so rest in peace to both of them.
Yeah.
However, gave us some gifts, including Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
Also, do you know who produced this movie?
I did not.
Did you notice in the credits? Because you know who this person is.
Oh, wait. No, I don't think I did.
Whitney Houston produced this movie.
No.
Yeah. Whitney Houston produced Princess Diaries.
The queen herself.
The queen herself.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're welcome. So anyway, those are my little production notes that I wanted to toss out before we start talking a little bit more about the movie. But
have a lot of artistic say in the music, because I feel like a lot of
we're going to talk about the music.
Making sense.
We're going to talk about the music, because the music in this movie slaps.
Yeah, because Mandy Moore is also in the movie.
And Mandy Moore is in the movie. So let's just talk about the music
while
we're on it.
Yeah.
As you just mentioned, Mandy Moore, she sings Stupid Cupid in a very iconic scene. Yes, the beach scene.
Oh, the beach scene, which I also want to talk about the beach scene.
We'll talk about the beach
later
scene.
On.
Yes.
Unrelated to music. But my god, that beach party was off the hook.
I know. When Phil and I rewatched this, we actually rewatched this before you selected this topic. We rewatched it a couple weeks ago just for fun,
'Cause
because
it's
it's
amazing.
a great movie. And I was like, this is an off-the-chain beach party. And if I was in high school, I'd been losing my mind.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also there were teachers there, which I didn't quite understand.
It was like a school dance, but at a beach and kind of lit.
To live in... Because the movie is set in San Francisco.
Right.
Which I feel like is an important plot line to
It
this
is.
beach party.
It is.
Like, we can't have a beach party in Michigan. Well, I guess we could, actually.
But, like, people don't.
People don't, no. We wouldn't have a high school party.
No, never.
At the beach.
You're not going to, like, zoom over to Lake Michigan for a beach party.
Yeah.
Sponsored by your school. That's just not happening. We don't do that here.
Absolutely not.
Maybe
But
we
yeah,
should.
the Stupid Cupid, just this one-off hit that they perform. It's Lana or Lana or whatever, and then Hannah
And Fontana.
and Fontana or Montana. I don't know, but they all have names that rhyme, and
Yeah.
I'm like, are those their real names? They just like never explain it.
They're like a girl group who all have the same name.
It's
and
just
like
my
Mandy
absolute
Moore.
dream. Like, this is how I envisioned that my life. You know, I was like, in 2001, I was 11.
Right. You're a little bit older than me.
Yeah,
Which I think is interesting for this conversation. So I was younger than you when I was watching this movie. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the nostalgia of all of this. But
yeah.
I was very conflicted because I also loved A Walk to Remember featuring Mandy Moore. And she's obviously the mean girl in this movie. And she's not at all the mean girl in A Walk to Remember.
Yeah, I have feelings about A Walk to Remember that you won't like. But I was also significantly older when I watched that film.
Yeah. No, I don't particularly like A Walk to Remember. I would like to state that for the record. But as a child, I liked it because I just liked like cheesy Nicholas Sparks movies.
It's designed to be liked by like young women everywhere.
Correct. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Other songs that slap from this movie.
There's a pop song at the end by one of those little boy band.
Aaron Carter sings Little Bitty Pretty One.
Yes.
Little Bitty Pretty One.
Yes.
Come on and talk to me. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I do know exactly
It's
what
so
you're talking
good.
about. It's so good.
It's so good. Miracles Happen.
Miracles happen once in a while. Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
So good. And then, of course, the amazing choir scene of singing Catch a Falling Star. Catch a falling star.
That is in my notes because as I was watching this, I was like, why?
I don't know why. I never understood why.
And then it later comes back into
Yeah.
the movie because she's like, later she gets like stranded in a rainstorm or something.
Yep.
And she's so sad. And so she's like crying while she's singing Catch a Falling Star. I'm like, this music has nothing to do with anything.
No, it doesn't, but it's like a weird motif in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. Like, such a random song. It doesn't like really fit with the theme. I feel like they could have chosen a recurring motif song that fits with the plot line in some way.
No, it's very random.
It's fine. I liked it. Also, Catch a Falling Star, the first time that they sing it in choir practice, is the first time that we see a character of color in the entire film.
Correct.
Because the choir director is a black woman.
Yes.
And that I think she is the only person of color in the film aside from
Gupta.
Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco.
The mayor. Yes.
And Gupta,
Sandra
who
Oh.
is played by Sandra Oh.
Which let's this is a great segue.
Oh my god.
This is a great segue. So let's talk about some scenes from the movie. That is my personal favorite scene, is the Gupta scene. Gupta.
Absolutely correct.
Yes.
She is iconic in this movie. She was underpaid, I'm sure,
100%.
because she wasn't famous for anything yet.
No,
People didn't know that she was
This was pre Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People didn't know that she was this like amazing actor yet. And she's so good and she plays her character so well.
Yeah.
And yeah, the scene where she answers the phone and she goes, "Hello?" And then clicks the phone down and goes, "The Queen is coming to Grove High School." Like, it's just, it cracks me up. It's so iconic.
Yes. It's some of the best line delivery in any
So
like
good.
low budget Disney movie. Like that, she went so in on that line and it's so good.
She really, and like anybody else, you'd be like, okay, she's like really overacting this. You know what I mean? But because it's Sandra Oh.
No, it's great.
And because she's so like subtly perfect.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yes. let's talk about the beach scene some more. So the beach scene is a pivotal moment in the film.
Yeah, the beach
A
scene.
lot happens in the beach scene.
Yeah, so let me take it down to my notes where I talk about the beach scene. So a couple things about the beach scene. I feel like this is one of the moments that I connected with a lot because when you're 11 or 12, like, everything is embarrassing.
Right.
Even, like, her getting ready for the beach party. One thing about Mia is that her best friend is her mom, so she's, like, getting ready to go to this beach party with her mom. And
her
she's
cool
wearing
artsy
these, like,
painter mom in their sick loft in San Francisco.
Which none of that setting makes sense,
no,
but okay.
It doesn't, but it's cool anyway.
It's so cool. Every young girl watching this movie was like, this is what I wish my life was. Like, if I have to be an outsider, which maybe you weren't, I was.
Yes, I was too.
Like, if we're gonna be outsiders, at least let it be, like, for a cool reason.
Right.
Because my mom is an artist and we live in a loft in San Francisco. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's getting ready for this beach scene. She's wearing, like, this conservative swimsuit. I remember that specifically because my mom wouldn't let me wear, like, anything. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was like, you need to go change. Like, anytime that I tried to wear anything. And I, like, remember her wearing, like, really conservative swimsuits. And I was like, maybe that's cool. Like, a princess is wearing, like, a one piece, you know?
Yeah,
like,
literally. It's so Disney of them.
Yeah, it's so Disney of them for sure. But yeah, she's, like, getting ready for this beach party and talking about how she wants, like, her first kiss to be so perfect. And she wants the foot to pop when she has her first kiss.
Yes.
So she wants that foot pop. And then, yeah, they go to the beach party and, like, all of her peers are kind of, like, looking to get their 15 minutes of fame because at this point it's leaked to the press that she's a princess.
Yes.
And so they do a bunch of embarrassing stuff to her.
And she was invited under false pretenses as
Yes,
well.
100%, yeah.
Because Josh, his name's Josh, right?
Yes,
Josh had invited her.
Is played by the same kid that's in Brink.
Yes.
He's also Danny in, what is it, like, Escape to Witch Mountain?
Yes, Escape to Witch Mountain, thank you.
And he's also, there's one other thing, he's the voice of Sid in Toy Story.
No way, shut up.
Mm-hmm. That was, like, that was, like, his last hurrah was Sid.
Oh my gosh, he's Sid. Oh my god.
But I loved him in Brink. I had such a crush on Josh. As this tan goddess.
The casting of this movie is great.
He's
because
a tan god. Like,
he's so hot. I had the biggest crush on Josh, and it's great casting because I was a Mia, and I felt like Mia. Like, there's no way that this boy would ever talk to me, you know? And it works so well in that scene in particular because all the girls watching this can totally relate to how Mia feels. And I would have fallen for it just as much as she did.
Yeah, and I remember, too, like, feeling like so much unwanted attention from boys and men when I was, like, a young girl. That was just, like, so embarrassing to me. And in the beach scene, Josh gives Mia some unwanted attention.
Right.
Like, he's trying to make the moves on her so that he can get this paparazzi photo of the two of them, like, together, the two of them kissing, whatever. And she's just, like, not into it.
Right.
Because it's just so, like, everything is going wrong.
Yep.
And I remember really identifying with that.
It's a very it's perhaps the most relatable scene in the film, I think.
Then later at the beach party, Lana or whatever, she and her friends,
Anna, and Fontana.
Yeah, whatever. The friends all, like, trick her into changing in one of the beach cabanas, and then they, like, tip over the beach cabana.
Right.
And she's, like, exposed.
Right.
And I'm like, I also remember being like, that's the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah, like, literally the most embarrassing thing I could ever fathom in my life is
like,
what happens to her there.
You're going through puberty. Like I said, just, like, everything is embarrassing.
Right.
I cannot imagine. And, like, I remember going to the beach or going to the pool and, like, having to change into my swimsuit was just horrifying to me.
And then that happens to Mia. And then you're like, yeah, I get it, Mia.
Yeah.
I get it.
And then she goes home and cries to her mom, like, all night.
Yeah. It's relatable, though. And it's an important part of the plot.
Yeah.
Did you have a massive crush on Michael?
I did have a crush on Michael. I get why she was attracted to Josh. Josh was like a Hollister model.
Yes.
Michael was, number one, I think he was a coded character.
Totally. Yeah.
But I also very much liked his aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was right when, like, hipster boy was kind of coming into its moment.
He's like pre-Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
He has sideburns.
He does have sideburns, and that was, like, kind of crazy in the early 2000s. Nobody had sideburns.
No. He reminded me of my cousin's husband, who was, like, also in this, like, alternative band, and I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, like, I always thought Michael was just, like, super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene where where he's, like, practicing or playing with his band or something, and he has M&M's on the keys?
Yes, and I thought it was so cool.
I thought that was so cool.
It was so cool.
I thought that was just, like, so quirky.
Yeah,
like,
he's so interesting.
Yeah. And then later, towards the end of the film, there's also this scene where he comes to visit Mia to, like, drop off her car, but they've had a falling out of some sort. And it's just such this, like, intense but awkward, but, like, you know, the romantic tension is like, you could cut it with a knife, but he does a bunch of weird stuff in that scene.
Yeah.
Like, he picks up this mask and is just, like, doing goofy
He
stuff.
does.
He's, like, just a goof. And so he's, like, he takes because she's paying him for fixing her car, so he takes the check that he gives her and, like, puts it in his mouth and just walks down, like, walks away with his arms
classic
straight down.
Weird high school dude stuff.
So weird.
Yeah.
And that's also why I think he's, like, maybe coded, you know, and, like, I think
when
that I identified with Mia because I was like, I would never be able to attain a Josh.
Yes, and I think that's why the casting is so good.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
And the movie made that made that fact desirable to me.
Right.
Like, yeah, but you don't want a Josh because he's just out to, like,
You want a
his
Michael.
15 minutes of fame.
Right.
You want a Michael. Yeah.
Let's talk about Queen Anne Hathaway a little bit, because Queen Anne Hathaway is,
Yeah.
I'm sure, important to you as she's important to me. She was an important figure in, like, early 2000s movies targeted toward women.
Yes.
Some of those include Ella Enchanted.
Yes.
Devil
Another
Wears
great
Prada.
book series.
Another
is
great
Ella Enchanted.
Ella Enchanted. Devil Wears Prada. Valentine's Day. And then she moved into some bigger hits with The Dark Knight Rises, where she's Catwoman, iconically. And then Les Mis. Obviously, she won an Oscar for Les Mis. And then she's also in Interstellar, which is one of Phil's favorite movies. So she's in a lot of, like, absolute bangers that mean a lot to a lot of people. A lot of people don't like Anne Hathaway, or used to not like Anne Hathaway. Were you ever on the Anne Hathaway hate train?
I didn't even know the Anne Hathaway hate train existed.
Oh, it existed.
That
I was not on it
saddens
either.
me because I don't... What's to hate? I don't know what there could possibly be.
I think it was like the Jennifer Lawrence effect of, like, overexposure, and everyone just decided that they didn't like her collectively. However, I never felt that way. I'm like, Anne Hathaway is a queen, and she matters to me.
Also, she's quite good. Like,
she's quite good.
She's a very good actor.
Yes.
This was her breakthrough role.
Correct.
She didn't really do much prior to this.
No, she did not.
Maybe something small. I can't remember. She was in, like, a show.
She was in a show. She was in one TV show called Get Real. And then she was simultaneously filming another project for Disney. And then once they saw a cut of Princess Diaries, they're like, oh, this is a really good movie. We're going to push the other movie out a little bit and put this one in theaters first because this is going to make her a star. And then more people will go see the other movie. But the other movie wasn't good, so nobody cares.
What is the other movie?
I didn't even write it down because it doesn't matter. It's like it is
not on our radar.
No. But I genuinely think Anne Hathaway was, like, one of the most important, like, stars to me when I was a kid. I was so obsessed with this movie and Devil Wears Prada and Ella Enchanted.
Devil Wears Prada is so good. Ella Enchanted is great too.
But Devil Wears Prada,
I recently rewatched Devil Wears Prada, and it holds up. It's so good. Killer cast again, another great killer cast. Yeah, I think she's super great. And then more recently, I don't know if you watched We Crashed.
I haven't, and
the
I would like
WeWork
to.
like TV show, whatever. It's a dramatization of the WeWork, dare I say, scandal.
Right.
It's very good.
She's a great actress.
She's great in it, but the show is great as a whole, and it wouldn't be the same show without her. And I cruised through that show. I mean,
should watch
it was maybe 2 days.
Amazing.
It was very good.
I will add too, I don't know if you've been following like her recent promo stuff, but whoever is styling her fits lately have been unparalleled. This woman looks so good. She is so hot. She still looks amazing, and her clothing is incredible. Like, look up her latest stylist. Like, whoever's really styling her, she looks so good. I'm so happy for her.
I think I need to start following her on social media after this, because it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the biggest Anne Hathaway fan. Like, no, but I wasn't even aware that there were people who had, like, stood on opposite sides of some sort of line. Like,
she stepped away for a while from acting because people were so like aggressive against her.
Oh, see, that's interesting, because I thought she stepped away because of her husband's legal issues.
The husband's legal issues was a thing. If you listeners, if you are not familiar with it, he was laundering money, right?
Something like that. Tax evasion.
Yes, it was real sketchy.
Yeah, it was like nonprofit.
I was gonna say it was under the guise of a nonprofit.
It was pretty shady shit.
But she was fully cleared of any involvement. Miss Mia Thermopolis was not involved in any of this.
The Princess of Genovia was not involved. I don't know. I didn't follow the story. I just remember reading that at one point, and I mean, I would step away from acting for a little while if I was her too, and everybody hated me. I mean, Taylor Swift did the same thing.
Indeed, exactly.
I feel like that's the thing to do.
Yep. Also, we're gonna get into the nostalgia now, but I wanted to make sure that I called out my favorite side character in the movie, which is Mr. Robitussin, her neighbor.
Yes, the Emmy Award-winning writer.
Yes, because he's so weird, and as a kid, he always like kind of creeped me out, but I also was kind of endeared by him. And he's just a delightful little comic relief character who doesn't really influence the plot very much, but is simply fantastic. He just sits in his yard in his bathrobe and muses about life and his misery, and it's so good.
Yeah, at one point, Mia, of all people, who is like notorious for also having bad manners, turns to the queen, her grandmother, and is like, oh, you don't need to meet Mr. Robitussin. He doesn't have very good manners. I'm like, coming from you? Like,
it's so funny, though.
Yeah, it is so funny. And for some reason, in my mind, I forgot, like, rewatching it, I rewatched it this morning, but rewatching it this morning, I thought that he, like, was secretly someone else.
Yes, like, you're gonna get, like, a reveal later.
Yeah, like, that he is hired by the grandmother to, like, keep an eye on her or something. And then that never happened.
That would have been
made that up in my mind.
That would have been a fun ad, though.
I know, but yeah, it is really funny, and like he has a relationship with Joe, the driver,
with Joe,
the security detail, I should say, and like there's some funny little interactions that happen with him.
So a plot detail that you don't know because you haven't watched the sequel is Joe and Queen Clarice end up together.
That's in the first one.
I know, but they're like together in the second one. Like, there's like a romantic dance scene with the two of them, and it's a bigger plot point in the sequel.
They also have a romantic dance scene in the first one, so love to see
yes, they do at the end, toward the end, yes.
Yes. But great to reprise that.
Yeah. They lean into it in the sequel for sure.
Yeah, I
Joe's
obviously would have shipped them anyway.
Yes.
And so I love that the author / writer of this movie just went ahead and did that hard work for us.
Okay. So, do you have any like specific memories that you harbor around watching this movie as a kid?
Mm-hmm. For sure. So the main reason why I have seen this movie a million gazillion bajillion times. So my family had this like little white TV, like the kind of TV that you would put in like your kitchen.
Yep.
Remember kitchen TVs? They were kind of big in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it had like a VHS player built into it. Mm-hmm. And then at some point we like upgraded in the early aughts to get like a little flat screen for the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And so I got to take that TV and put it in my room.
Okay.
Which at the time, big deal.
Huge.
Huge.
And I loved when my friends had TVs in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were not allowed.
Yeah.
And so it was just like this moment where I was like, oh, I've made it.
I've made it. Yeah.
I've made it. Like, I have a little haven in my room. And the way that my family, home growing up, we all had I come from a big family, so we all luckily had individual rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until later that I was allowed to move into like the biggest room because I'm the youngest.
Sure.
And so other people had to like leave the house.
Yeah.
It was never available to me until high school.
You work your way up.
And this
to the
was
big
kind
room.
of like the last vestige of like my little kid room before moving to like my high school, my teenage room, the big room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like distinctly remember watching, well, I would yo-yo between Princess Diaries and Back to the Future.
Amazing.
Because those were the only DVD or only VHSs. Not even DVDs, because DVDs like
Didn't even exist yet, really.
did they exist, or like
They did, but
we had either just made the switch and so everything was DVDs and I only had these two VHSs anymore, or something like that. But anyway, yeah, I like would watch this movie before bed pretty much every single day for like a year. And that's why I say like I think it is likely that I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
I like without a doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like again these years between like 11, 12, 13, like I really just didn't even want to be around my family very much. Like I was just so embarrassed of everything. I like really didn't want to be around people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent a lot of, and you know me, so like hearing that just feels really out of character.
Yeah, you're a very outgoing person.
Yeah, and I truly do like derive my energy from being around other people. And so it's just it marks a time in my life where I was very closed off to the world, and I thought a lot about, you know, the type of person that I want to be and like my aspirations, my hopes, while simultaneously feeling like so insecure, so insignificant, so misunderstood, which I feel like is exactly what Mia talks about in the movie, where she's like, I'm invisible.
Yep.
Why would anybody want to listen to what I have to say? Like, why are the paparazzi following me? Like, I just want to melt into the abyss.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want a single eyeball on me. But at the same time, she very much wants to be understood. She wants to be heard. She wants to be seen in that way. But she doesn't want people to ogle her.
Right.
And I just really closely identified with that.
Yeah, that's what makes it a great teen movie, right? That's a well-written teen movie.
Yeah. Oh,
totally.
yeah. The best ones all have that same plot. Like, they're all
but it's relatable, and that's what makes it so good. So
yeah.
I don't know. So you said that you had the VHS. I don't know if your VHS was like this, but the thing that's burned in my brain about this movie is the VHS tape that we had. It was a white VHS box, but then the cover, Mia's tiara was sparkly on the cover.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
And I was young. I'm a couple years younger than you. I would have been like 6 when this movie came out, so I was pretty little. And I was like mesmerized by the VHS cover, and I thought it was really cool. And
it was her and Julie Andrews on the cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think Clarice's crown is also sparkly, but Mia has the bigger one on, so that was the one that's like more memorable to me. But I always just thought that was really cool because you didn't get that many like cool VHS covers that did funky stuff, and I always just thought it was really cool. And I love the movie also.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's great.
When
I
I was
mean,
6.
like, it's just it really is like dazzling to our like young simple minds.
Totally. So okay, here's a question that keeps coming up when I talk about any type of media on any of these episodes so far.
Okay.
But I will preface it with this. This movie has a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I understand. Yeah.
So the question is this movie good because it's nostalgic, or is it nostalgic because it's good?
I think it's maybe a little bit of both, but I think it might be leaning towards good because it's nostalgic.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it really is just a movie created for the zeitgeist. When I think about, and I do watch still and read still a lot of YA stuff, the tropes that were in our era of, well, I shouldn't even say our, you're probably like a different era, but like my era was very hyper focused on popularity.
Oh, yeah.
Appearance.
Oh, yeah.
It was the cool kids versus the nerds. Every single movie.
100%.
Every single Disney Channel, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This movie is exactly that. And when I look at, like, media from today, none of it is that.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's completely different.
Totally.
And so I think, like, if a kid watched this today, if a 12-year-old girl watched this today, they would be like, this is really superficial.
Totally. Like, you're so right. Like, so much media that we consumed, especially like early 2000 stuff, like pre-2008 stuff, was so focused on appearance and like the importance of like how you fit in with your peers and the meaning of fitting in with your peers versus just having friends that care about you. Everything was about that. And it's not, at least the modern like teen media that I've seen now, it has definitely shifted focus a little bit. It's more about like self-acceptance and finding your place in the world. And that's a very different perspective than what we got.
Yeah, and even just having more characters of, because listener, you may not know, but I am a mixed person. I'm half black and half white. And I mostly identify as black. Most of the young adult stuff that I see today is either a person of color, a queer person, like something like that, like where they're dealing with very real issues, whereas Mia's issue was like that she has bushy eyebrows. And I was like,
and is stressed about getting to be royal.
Which was like very comforting to me to see her go through her like beauty montage and be like, oh, I could, like, because my eyebrows are out of control, like, I don't do anything to them now, but as a kid, I was, like, so embarrassed of my eyebrows, so embarrassed of my curly hair, my hair, like, everybody would be like, oh, you have such unruly hair, like, what are you gonna do with your hair, like, you look so much better with straightened hair. That was all confirmed by this movie. I'm not saying it's a good thing.
No,
but that was, like, something that I, like, so identified with as a kid.
No, I think you're right, and circling back to the question, yeah, it's probably just good because it's mostly nostalgic. Like, did I have fun rewatching it? 100%. I totally enjoyed rewatching it recently. I think it's much better than the second movie. I didn't really like the second one very much upon rewatch, but the first one I still at least enjoy and will probably revisit again at some point in the future. It's definitely not, it's not on the level to where I rewatched it and was like, ew, this is like very outdated. I don't want to watch it again, but it definitely feels like it's from its time.
It didn't make me cringe.
Yeah.
It's just, you know that it's an early aughts movie.
You absolutely do. Yes.
Also, she wears a bucket hat.
She does wear a bucket hat.
In the movie.
She does.
And I was like, dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway. Although those are back. Gen Z's brought those back.
I know, yeah. And like, as a millennial watching Gen Z walk around with these bucket hats, I am like, LOL.
Y'all. We thought we were past those. Those and low-rise pants.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Do you have any final thoughts about the Princess Diaries? Anything else that we didn't get to that you wanted to make sure we discussed?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like we covered a lot of great ground here. I mean, I will say that the movie has a good ending.
It does.
It's a very tidy, satisfying ending.
It is.
Michael shows up to the ball unexpected and gives her that foot-popping kiss.
Yep. And it's a real one that
time. And
time.
it's a real one. And remember the gardens.
Yep. And then they make the sequel, and Michael's gone and dead, and he's like literally not in the second movie at all.
Oh, I thought. In the books he comes back.
He's in the books.
In the movies,
he's not.
Just
he is
MIA.
literally not. I believe the actual reason he wasn't in the sequel is because the actor is from the Schwartzman family. You know, like Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at the time he was touring with his band because of course he was in a real band, and so he wasn't available for the sequel. So they just wrote him out, and then Chris Pine is brought in as the real love interest in the sequel.
That makes sense.
And Chris Pine
it's Chris Pine.
Okay, Chris Pine's literally so hot, but he's such a loser in the sequel, and I'm so mad that she ends up with him.
Oh my god. I need to watch it now. But yeah, no, I think that we covered a lot of great ground. Great. I just I will say that in rewatching it, I felt transported back to that little bedroom with the white TV with the built-in VCR and the yellow walls. I had like pale yellow walls. They were the color of like butter. Such a cheesy kid bedroom. And I will say too that I like nearly shed tears at the ending because I was like, I just fucking love this movie
because it's
so
just
much.
So fun.
Yes,
right?
I really do love it.
The nostalgia factor is definitely real for this movie, and that's what makes it good for this podcast. So thank you for selecting it, and thank you for talking with me. This has been really fun, and you'll have to come back again, and maybe we'll talk about Back to the Future next time, your other VHS tape.
I would love to.
One of my favorite movies.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Abby. Thank you for joining me on this nostalgia trip. If you liked what you heard, follow the podcast to keep tripping through time with us. And if you're feeling extra supportive, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at NostalgiaTripPod for bonus content, episode release schedules, and more. Want to hear a certain topic or have a recommendation for the pod? Email us at nostalgiatrippod@gmail.com. Until next time!